They lead their lives almost the same way they did 300 years ago. The Amish are a religious community in the U.S. that originated in Europe.
For most couples, the wedding night is a moment of celebration, a private escape after months of planning and excitement. But in Amish communities, it's nothing like that. There's no honeymoon suite, no champagne, no candlelit dinner. In fact, the bride and groom might spend the evening cleaning up after their own wedding. It sounds unusual, but there's a deeper reason, one that reveals how the Amish see love, faith, and life itself. Why do they celebrate like this? Let's find out. A wedding night unlike any other. If you picture a wedding night, chances are it involves a getaway car, hotel room, or maybe a beachfront resort. But for an Amish couple, the first night of marriage looks nothing like that. There's no honeymoon, no champagne, no fancy dinner, and absolutely no big send-off. In fact, the bride and groom often spend the evening doing something few outsiders would expect, cleaning up after their own wedding. To understand why, you have to start with the wedding itself. Amish weddings are held in late autumn, usually on Tuesdays or Thursdays. Practical choices, because it leaves the rest of the week for cleanup and work. The ceremony isn't in a church. Most Amish communities don't have one. Instead, it's hosted at the bride's family farm, often inside a large home or barn that's been cleared out and fitted with benches borrowed from neighbors. Everything from the food to the decorations is simple, modest, and community-made. The guest list can easily reach 300 people, sometimes more, but the tone remains humble. There's no white gown or tuxedo. The bride typically wears a plain blue dress she sews herself, along with a black apron and cape, which she'll later wear for Sunday services. The groom wears a black suit without buttons, in keeping with Amish rules against showiness. Rings, flowers, and makeup are avoided. What stands out isn't glamour. It's the quiet sense of purpose. The ceremony is long, lasting up to 3 hours, and filled with hymns, prayers, and readings from Scripture. It's conducted in Pennsylvania Dutch, and it emphasizes obedience to God, humility, and the sacred responsibilities of marriage. When the vows are spoken, there's no fanfare, just the sound of faith shared by everyone in the room. Afterward, the real celebration begins. The reception, known as the wedding dinner, is an enormous meal cooked by family and friends. The menu usually includes chicken, mashed potatoes, creamed celery, homemade bread, pies, and the famous Amish wedding roast. The food is prepared days in advance, with neighbors pitching in to help. Everyone eats, talks, and laughs, a rare break from the usual rhythm of farm life. But once the guests begin to leave, the newlyweds don't rush off to a honeymoon suite. There are no travel plans, no photo shoots, no social media posts. Instead, the bride and groom stay behind with close family to help clean the dishes, put away benches, and tidy up the barn or kitchen. It's not a punishment, it's an act of gratitude. The idea is simple. Marriage begins not with escape or luxury, but with service. Helping clean up after your own wedding is a gesture that says, we start our life together by giving back to the people who gave to us. That night, the couple stays at the bride's parents' home. Wait, what? Well, it's tradition and it's practical too. Amish homes are large, and there's usually room for the new couple to sleep in a spare bedroom. In some communities, the bride's younger siblings will decorate the bed with homemade quilts, and the newlyweds will spend their first night together quietly, away from fanfare or attention. There's no open talk of romance or intimacy. The Amish view such things as private and sacred. The next morning, there's still no time for rest. Many couples begin visiting relatives, sometimes dozens of them, to thank them for attending the wedding and to share small gifts of appreciation. This period can last for weeks, almost like a reverse honeymoon, where instead of going away together, the couple goes deeper into their community. It's about connection and acknowledgement rather than isolation or indulgence. All of this reflects the Amish approach to marriage: humble, steady, and deeply spiritual. Marriage isn't just about love. It's about joining two people in a lifelong partnership of faith, work, and endurance. Amish couples are expected to build their homes, raise large families, and contribute to their community. The wedding, then, is less of a personal celebration and more of a communal blessing. In Amish culture, modesty isn't just a preference, it's a virtue tied to faith. Pride and display are seen as distractions from what truly matters. A wedding night filled with luxury would go against everything the community teaches about humility and devotion. Even during one of life's biggest moments, the Amish believe the focus should remain on God and family, not on self. This mindset is part of a broader concept the Amish call Gelassenheit, a German term that means submission or yielding. It's about letting go of personal will and pride to live in harmony with God's plan. So, the lack of spectacle on a wedding night isn't about being dull, it's about living faithfully. The joy of marriage is found not in outward expression, but in quiet gratitude and shared purpose. Another interesting aspect of Amish weddings is how they're planned. There are no wedding planners or printed invitations. Announcements are made verbally within the community, often just a few weeks before the big day. The bride and her family do most of the preparation, and neighbors lend tables, chairs, and cooking utensils. Everyone knows their role, and everyone contributes. It's a system built on cooperation, not consumption. And because Amish life is so interwoven, weddings become massive community events, a celebration of faith as much as of love. Children help serve food, elders share advice, and the entire neighborhood participates. By the time the day is over, it's clear that marriage isn't just between two people. It's between two families, two sets of friends, and an entire network of faith. After a few days, the newlyweds will move into their new home, often one already built or prepared by relatives. They might even live in a small house on the groom's family farm until they establish their own place. Honeymoons, as most people know them, aren't part of the picture. Some couples might take short trips to visit distant relatives, but elaborate vacations are rare. Instead, they step right into daily life, farming, household chores, and community events. For outsiders, this simplicity can seem strange, even restrictive. But for the Amish, it's what keeps marriage grounded. The first night together isn't meant to be a fairy tale. It's meant to reflect reality, work, humility, and faith. There's beauty in that rhythm, in beginning a marriage with the same quiet devotion that defines every other part of Amish life. By the end of that first week, when the last borrowed bench is returned and the dishes are finally put away, the newlyweds have already learned their first lesson in partnership, that love in the Amish world isn't proven by grand gestures, but by small acts done together. The Amish wedding night, then, isn't just different, it's meaningful in its own way. It strips away everything unnecessary and leaves only what's essential: faith, family, and the beginning of a shared life built on both. For us to relate to why this simplicity is a serious thing for the community, we have to look beyond the wedding and into what the Amish truly believe: the roots of a simple life. If there's one thing that shapes every choice the Amish make, from how they dress to how they marry, it's their faith. To outsiders, Amish life might look restrictive or old-fashioned, but to them, it's a conscious act of devotion. Every quiet rule and simple habit has a reason, tied to beliefs that have guided their people for centuries. At the center of Amish faith is Christianity, but lived out in a very practical way. They believe in humility, service, forgiveness, and separation from the modern world. It's not just about attending church. It's about turning everyday life into an act of worship. They aim to live as Jesus taught, simply, peacefully, and without pride. That means no personal glory, no competition, and no technology that could feed temptation or vanity. A word that captures this mindset is Gelassenheit, a German term that roughly means yieldedness. It's the idea of surrendering your will to God and accepting your place in the community. Pride, ambition, and individualism are seen as barriers to faith. In the Amish view, when people chase personal gain, they drift away from what truly matters: harmony, humility, and obedience. This principle is what keeps their lifestyle consistent, even when the modern world races ahead. They avoid electricity, cars, and many conveniences not because they believe those things are evil, but because they can easily lead to distraction, competition, or isolation. The Amish want to stay grounded, close to family, close to the earth, and close to God. Community is everything in Amish life. Decisions aren't made alone. They're made with the group in mind. Each district, usually 20 to 40 families, has its own Ordnung, or set of unwritten rules that guide behavior, dress, and daily conduct. These rules differ slightly from one community to another, but they all serve the same goal: maintaining order and unity. When everyone follows the same path, there's less room for conflict or pride. Faith also shapes their sense of time. The Amish live deliberately, without hurry. Days revolve around farming, family, and worship. Sundays are sacred, not for errands or entertainment, but for rest and fellowship. There are no televisions or smartphones competing for attention. Conversations happen face-to-face, and meals are shared without screens. To outsiders, this pace can seem slow, but to the Amish, it's peaceful, a rhythm that leaves room for gratitude. The Amish also see suffering and hardship differently than most people. Instead of viewing challenges as unfair, they see them as part of God's plan. Illness, loss, or failure are met with acceptance rather than resistance. It's not that they lack emotion, it's that they've learned to find purpose in endurance. The same mindset carries into marriage, parenting, and work. Everything is temporary, but faith is eternal. Education reflects this philosophy too. Amish children attend one-room schoolhouses until around the 8th grade, where they're taught reading, writing, arithmetic, and practical skills like farming or sewing. Higher education isn't encouraged, not out of ignorance, but out of caution. They believe too much exposure to the outside world can pull young people away from their values. The goal isn't personal success. It's becoming a useful, faithful member of the community. Even in worship, simplicity reigns. Amish church services rotate between members' homes every other Sunday. There are no buildings, organs, or pews, just wooden benches, Bibles, and unaccompanied hymns sung in slow harmony. Sermons are long, often 2 hours or more, and focused on humility and repentance rather than emotional excitement. The atmosphere is calm and collective. Their faith also emphasizes forgiveness, perhaps more deeply than any other Christian group. When something goes wrong, even a serious wrong, the community leans toward mercy, not revenge. They believe in turning the other cheek, taking inspiration directly from Jesus' teachings. This has led to widely known moments of grace, such as when Amish families forgave the man who committed the 2006 schoolhouse shooting in Nickel Mines, Pennsylvania. For the Amish, forgiveness isn't optional, it's proof of obedience to God. All of these beliefs tie back to one main goal: keeping the heart clean and the spirit humble. The Amish don't reject the modern world because they hate progress. They reject it because they fear it weakens their dependence on faith and community. The idea of living simply isn't about lacking things, it's about having enough and being content with it. This commitment gives Amish life a kind of clarity that many people outside it envy. There's no constant chase for the newest gadget or highest status. There's no pressure to prove worth through money or looks. Instead, life revolves around work, worship, and family. Every sunrise and sunset is part of the same rhythm, dependable, peaceful, and grounded in faith. When the Amish wedding night ends with dishes instead of dancing, it's not just a quirky custom. It's a reflection of everything they believe. The Amish way of life might look plain from the outside, but underneath that simplicity lies a deep philosophy about purpose, balance, and what truly matters. And that philosophy doesn't stop at weddings or worship. It shapes every other part of Amish living, from how they dress to how they raise their children. Let's step deeper into their world and see the other traditions that define who they are. The ways of a closed world. To understand the Amish, you have to look beyond their horse-drawn buggies and plain clothes. Their lives are stitched together by countless small traditions, rituals, habits, and quiet choices that carry meaning in every gesture. These customs are not just about keeping the old ways alive. They're about creating a rhythm that protects their faith from a world that changes too fast. Let's start with what most people notice first: their clothing. Amish clothes are plain by design, meant to erase vanity and pride. Men wear dark suits, broad-brimmed hats, and suspenders. Women dress in long, solid-colored dresses with aprons and head coverings called caps. There are no zippers, no jewelry, no makeup, not even buttons in some conservative groups, because buttons can be seen as decorative. Every stitch says the same thing: we are humble and we are one. The uniformity reminds them daily that individuality shouldn't outshine community. Their homes follow the same philosophy. Amish houses are spotless, functional, and free from clutter. You won't find decorative paintings or flashy furniture, but you will find warmth, craftsmanship, and purpose. Every tool, table, and quilt has a job. Quilting itself is a deep tradition, often done in groups where women gather to sew, talk, and bond. The finished quilts are not just blankets, they're heirlooms that carry stories of faith, friendship, and care. Then there's transportation, one of the most visible boundaries between the Amish and the outside world. They famously avoid cars, preferring horse-drawn buggies. The reason isn't stubbornness, it's control. A car can take you too far, too fast, both literally and spiritually. It can separate families, encourage pride, and invite worldly temptation. The buggy, on the other hand, keeps travel slow and local, tied to the land and to one another. Technology is perhaps their most defining barrier. No electricity from public grids, no smartphones, no internet. However, it's not as rigid as outsiders think. Many Amish do use generators, solar panels, or battery-powered tools, as long as they don't create dependency on the outside world. It's a constant balancing act, using what helps, avoiding what harms. What matters is whether a technology strengthens the community or weakens it. Work for the Amish is sacred. Whether farming, carpentry, or baking, labor is an act of worship. There's a phrase often heard among them: work is prayer. You can feel it in the smell of fresh hay, the rhythm of a hammer, or the hush of fields at dawn. Families often work together. Children learn early by helping in barns or workshops. This constant teamwork reinforces connection and teaches responsibility. Their Sundays are unlike those of most Americans. Church isn't in a steepled building, but held in homes on rotation. Services can last 3 hours, conducted in Pennsylvania Dutch, and are followed by long communal meals. It's not just worship, it's bonding. Neighbors share food, laughter, and faith. Afterward, there's visiting, singing, and quiet rest. For the Amish, Sunday isn't just a day off. It's a reminder of what matters most: faith, family, and fellowship. One of their most fascinating customs is rumspringa, meaning running around. Around the age of 16, Amish teens are given limited freedom to experience the outside world before deciding whether to join the church permanently. Some try modern clothes, cars, even cell phones. To outsiders, it looks rebellious, but in truth, it's an act of choice. Faith means more when freely chosen. Many return, choosing baptism and the life they've always known. Others leave, seeking a different path. Either way, it's a powerful crossroads between two worlds. When it comes to courtship and marriage, tradition rules. Amish couples usually meet through church events or community gatherings. Dating is modest, chaperoned visits, letters, and conversations rather than texting or dates. Once engaged, weddings are community events, often held on Thursdays in the fall after the harvest. There's a ceremony, a meal that feeds hundreds, and a long day of laughter and work. But as we've seen, the wedding night is quiet, practical, and full of meaning, a symbol of service rather than celebration. Family life follows a clear pattern of order and faith. Men are heads of households, responsible for providing, while women manage home and children. Yet this division isn't rooted in inequality, it's balance. Both roles are seen as vital, complementary parts of God's design. Children are treasured, often arriving in large numbers. A family of 8 to 10 kids is not uncommon, and each one learns early to contribute, helping with chores, caring for siblings, or tending animals. Discipline is gentle but firm. The Amish teach through example, patience, and community correction. Public shaming or harsh punishment is rare. The focus is always on guidance, not humiliation. This ties into one of their most misunderstood practices, shunning or meidung. When someone breaks the Ordnung and refuses to repent, they may be temporarily avoided by others, not as revenge, but as a way to encourage reflection and repentance. It's painful, but often effective. Many who are shunned eventually return, humbled and ready to rejoin the fold. Death and grief are handled with the same quiet grace. Funerals are simple, without ornate coffins or headstones. The Amish believe death is a passage, not an end. Mourning is heartfelt but peaceful, grounded in faith that they'll meet again. Even in loss, humility reigns, no dramatic displays, no eulogies, just prayers and gratitude for a life well lived. Another fascinating piece of Amish tradition is their craftsmanship and economy. While farming was once their backbone, many have moved into trades like woodworking, furniture making, and baking. Amish-made goods are famous for quality and honesty, no shortcuts, no mass production. A table or quilt made by Amish hands isn't just an object, it's a statement of integrity. Despite these old-world ways, the Amish aren't frozen in time. They adapt, slowly and cautiously, when needed. Some communities now use solar panels to power milking machines. Others sell goods online through intermediaries or employ drivers for long-distance travel. These aren't contradictions, they're careful compromises, chosen to preserve values while surviving in the modern economy. And yet, for all their boundaries, the Amish remain surprisingly open-hearted. Visitors are often welcomed as long as they're respectful. Many Amish sell produce or crafts at markets, inviting quiet exchanges between worlds. Their hospitality, though modest, is sincere, the kind that offers you a meal, a handshake, and a reminder that kindness doesn't need electricity to shine. Every Amish tradition, from their silent meals to their handmade furniture, is a form of resistance against a culture obsessed with speed and noise. Their life may look small, but it's full of meaning. Each day lived deliberately is a small rebellion against distraction. Each choice to stay simple is, in its own way, an act of strength. Still, even the most steadfast traditions face the winds of change. In a world that's more connected than ever, can the Amish hold on to their identity? Or will their children slowly drift toward modern life, drawn by what lies beyond the buggy road? That's the question the next generation must answer, and it's one that's already testing the quiet heart of Amish America. Holding on or letting go, the changing face of Amish life. Change has a way of finding everyone, even those who try their best to stay off the grid. For centuries, the Amish have lived by the same code: simplicity, humility, community, faith. But as the world speeds up, that quiet bubble of tradition has started to feel the pressure. You can see it in the younger generations, the small compromises, and the questions that never used to be asked out loud. Let's start with what's happening right now inside Amish communities. Not everyone stays. Some leave, some come back. Others build new paths halfway between modern life and old ways. In recent years, there's been a noticeable rise in young Amish who decide not to join the church after Rumspringa. It's not that they reject faith, many still hold strong beliefs, but the pull of the outside world has gotten stronger. Smartphones, cars, college, freedom, these are temptations the old Ordnung couldn't have predicted. The question for many is, how do you stay true to your roots in a world that no longer looks anything like the one your great-grandparents knew? Still, most Amish do stay, and for those who remain, adaptation has become part of survival. Some communities now run successful businesses that reach far beyond their town lines. There are Amish-owned furniture companies, construction crews, and even food brands known nationwide. They don't manage the online part themselves, of course, but they work with trusted non-Amish partners to make it possible. That balance, holding to their principles while engaging with the modern economy, has become the quiet evolution of Amish life. Even in farming, once their cornerstone, changes are visible. As land becomes expensive and technology reshapes agriculture, Amish farmers have found new ways to sustain themselves. Some lease land, others focus on niche products like organic produce or handmade goods. There's a sense of pride in continuing to work the soil, even if the methods have shifted. The horse and plow might share space with solar panels now, something that would have been unthinkable a few decades ago. But modernization doesn't always come easy. Each step toward convenience brings debate. Can a community remain Amish if it allows phones in the barn? What happens when one district permits solar electricity and another doesn't? These small differences can divide even the closest knit groups. The Ordnung isn't the same everywhere, it's interpreted locally, and that means some communities are more open than others. A family in one settlement might use power tools while another still does everything by hand. This flexibility, while practical, has also created quiet tension. Too much change, some fear, could erode the very foundation of who they are. Education is another area of slow transformation. The traditional Amish school system ends at 8th grade, designed to teach basic literacy, math, and practical skills for farm life. But times are changing. Some parents are starting to see the value of broader education, business management, health, technology, especially for those running modern ventures. While higher education is still rare, curiosity is growing. A few Amish youth secretly attend night classes or learn through non-traditional means. It's subtle, but it's a sign that curiosity and faith can coexist, even if quietly. There's also the issue of size. Amish communities are growing faster than ever, thanks to large families and strong retention rates. There are now more than 380,000 Amish across North America, and their population doubles roughly every 20 years. On the surface, this looks like success, but it comes with new challenges. Limited farmland, the need for income outside agriculture, and the delicate task of keeping unity as communities spread into new regions and even new states. Then there are those who left, the former Amish, sometimes called Seekers or Englishers, once they rejoin the modern world. Their stories are complex. Some leave peacefully, chasing opportunities that Amish life can't offer. Others depart after conflict or personal struggle, especially over strict rules or limited freedom. Some find happiness outside, others feel a lasting ache for the simplicity they left behind. There's even a growing online network of ex-Amish individuals helping each other adjust, finding jobs, housing, and new identities. It's proof that even a life chosen for peace can have its share of quiet heartbreak. Still, the Amish are not fading. Far from it. Despite every modern distraction, their way of life has endured longer than most movements in American history. Why? Because at its heart, Amish culture isn't about resistance, it's about purpose. Every rule, every tradition, every limit exists to protect something larger: faith, family, and community. These values have held them together for hundreds of years, and even now, they remain their anchor. What's most striking about the Amish is how they face the future, not by chasing it, but by letting it come slowly. They believe not every progress is worth the price. While much of the world races toward convenience, they remind us that slowing down might be the truer path to peace. Their challenges are real: land shortages, internal differences, young members drifting away, but their resolve is just as strong. As one Amish elder once put it, "We do not stop the world, we only step aside and let it pass." That's their quiet form of wisdom. In a culture obsessed with visibility, they thrive through invisibility. While others chase innovation, they hold on to intention. And while society constantly reinvents itself, the Amish remain steady, building, farming, and raising families, one deliberate day at a time. But the real question is, how long can they hold on? Will the next century still have communities without phones, cars, or lights at night? Or will the pull of modern life finally break through? No one really knows, not even the Amish themselves. What's certain is that their story isn't just about separation, it's about balance. The Amish don't simply reject the modern world, they remind it to slow down, to think, to live with purpose. And maybe in that way, they're not falling behind at all. Maybe they're just walking, slowly and steadily, on a different kind of road. In the Amish world, even something as intimate as a wedding night reflects a way of life built on faith, humility, and community. What may seem unusual to outsiders, simple weddings, shared work, quiet devotion, is perfectly normal to them. From their traditions to their struggles with modern change, the Amish show that peace doesn't come from progress, but from purpose. Their choices remind us that a life lived slowly, deliberately, and with heart can still thrive in a noisy world. The Amish may live differently, but their way of life still speaks to something timeless: faith, family, and peace. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content like this.